So recently Garmin has announced two new watches, the fēnix 5 and the 935. Both watches are very similar in functionality, and where they really differ is in their appearance. So you'll find this video useful if you cannot decide between buying the fēnix 5 or the 935. Also if you can't decide which fēnix 5 model to buy, and if you're upgrading from the fēnix 3. So the fēnix 5 features a metal enclosure, whilst the 935 features a plastic one. They both have very similar and overlapping functions, so they both have the elevate heart rate sensor on the back. They both charge with the same cable, and even the buttons on the side function the same. So we have our light button here, our main menu button here, and a down button here, along with your activity start and stop buttons here, and just your back button there. Firstly, I'm just going to concentrate on the fēnix 5. So it has a much better build quality. It looks more substantial than the 935. The Sapphire version has a sapphire screen, obviously, and the 935 has a standard glass screen. They both have quick release watch straps, and I'll come to that in just a moment, and obviously as a result they can both be worn with smarter clothes, more so with the fēnix 5 actually. So as I mentioned, both watches feature removable straps, and they're very quick and easy to take off. So we have the leather strap here, which can easily be placed on, and there's also a stainless steel link bracelet as well, which matches the non-sapphire version very well. So as you can see, very quick and easy to put on. And one of the biggest complaints I had with my fēnix 3, which required a small screwdriver to unscrew the straps every time. Now I should mention that the quick fit bands can be used with the 935 as well, but on this version I've just got the normal strap. So the reason I haven't put any of the quick fit bands on the 935 is because of the way the watch is designed. Now I have tried it, and the quick release here has a built-in part there which makes the strap thicker, so when I place it on to the 935 I find that it doesn't wrap around my wrist as well and feels quite uncomfortable. I don't find this so much with the fēnix 5, so perhaps it may be due to the difference between the shapes of the watches, and perhaps even my own wrist size. So as a result, I would err on caution if you're planning to use any quick release straps with the 935. Furthermore, the silicone bands work well with the 935, but in my honest opinion I do not think that the stainless steel link bracelet aesthetically looks very nice with the 935. You may get away with the brown leather band if you can overcome the fact that the watch is black and the band is well brown. Okay, so let's briefly talk about the sapphire versus non-sapphire fēnix 5. So price-wise, the non-sapphire version is £500 and the sapphire version is £590. The main difference between them is, of course, obviously the sapphire screen on the sapphire version, and also that the fēnix 5 does not have built-in Wi-Fi. The 935 does, but the standard edition fēnix 5 does not, and it's only the sapphire one. There's also a 2 gram weight difference, so the sapphire version is 2 grams heavier at 87 grams. That's probably not going to be a deciding factor for most. So the non-sapphire version has a slate grey bezel, and the sapphire versions feature a black bezel. There is a slate grey bezel with the sapphire version, but I've only seen that available directly from Garmin, and it comes with the metal link bracelet, but I actually purchased this separately again from Amazon. And I think that works very well. So it's very comfortable, actually more comfortable than the standard bands, which I find don't have as much of a bend in them, but the link bracelet does go around my wrist very well. So I'll use the fēnix 5 to highlight some of the main features of the watch. So it's very similar to the fēnix 3 actually. Pressing on the menu button, you've got the options for watch face, clock, history and settings. Watch face allows you to customize the watch. I've actually got two which I've put there, which are my favorite ones. So I normally use the analog one for when I'm wearing the watch with smart clothes, and a more sporty one for when I'm wearing more casual clothes. You can have an alarm clock, timer, stopwatch, alert, sync with GPS, so that's the options under clock. A history of all your runs. There's no activities on my fēnix 5, so I'll just go to the 935 to show you how that looks. So obviously you can see all of the runs you've done. I only used the 935 for running. I have an edge unit for cycling, so there'll be no bike rides on this. And it looks like it's going back to since when I first started using the watch back in April. Okay, and then we have our settings. So we can customize our activities and apps. So as with the fēnix 3, you can customize your data screens and set up your alerts, your metronome, auto lapping, and all of the usual metrics. You can customize your widgets as well and download further ones from the Connect IQ store. So I personally have my heart rate, steps, and I like this, an altimeter, barometer and compass ABC all on one screen. You can check your weather, see the temperature, calendars and notifications, and I like to keep mine fairly minimalistic. So going back into settings, you can also add a range of sensors, so wrist heart rate, compass, cadence sensors. I've also connected my Garmin Verb Ultra 30. I may well do a review on that, maybe later. Okay, what else do we have? We have maps as well. Not as comprehensive as the fēnix 5X, but nonetheless you can still see the map overlay of your runs and bike rides. Connecting to the phone, as with the fēnix 3, a very nice smartwatch. Physiological metrics, your user profile, group track. So pretty much everything that the fēnix 3 did and a lot more. So as a runner, I've been doing most of my runs using the 935, and a feature which I was particularly excited about was the training load. So as with the fēnix 3, you can have an accurate VO2 max thanks to the built-in heart rate sensor. You can see your recovery time, your training load, so how hard you're training, and this number is going to vary depending on your fitness levels, using the algorithms that the Garmin watch takes. optimally you want to be in this zone here. If you're in red, it means you're overtraining, and the bluish colour means that you're probably not training hard enough. And you also get a race predictor, again based on your VO2 max and other metrics. I find this to be fairly accurate, although my 5k time is around 18 minutes, my half PB's 1:23, 10k 37:08, so yeah, perhaps a little ambitious at this stage, so I'm not really sure how Garmin works these out, but it's good to know that that's probably what you're capable of. And again, as with the fēnix 3, you can see your records using the watch. This information is actually stored locally on the watch and it's not pulled from Garmin Connect. So if you need to reset your watch to factory settings, you do unfortunately lose all this data. So I haven't had this watch for very long, so not many great times on there. I've got a 5k 1917, 10k. You can see your longest run as well. So other activities you can add include trail running, hiking, pool swimming, and you can also play golf with this as well using something called True Swing. Swim, run, strength, cardio, jumping out of a plane, I think that is, tactical, something military based, biking indoor, mountain biking, open water swimming, skiing, snowboarding, cross country skiing, rowing, even boating. I think if you name any activity, I think the fēnix 5 can handle it. So one of the main apps which I was quite excited about was Training Peaks. So you can download a Training Peak app or customize one yourself and download it onto the watch. And when you go for example, a run and you're doing, say, interval training, it will tell you what zone you're in and if you're following the plan or not. So I'm quite new with Training Peak still, so I probably need a bit more hands-on time with both the 935 and the TP application before I can report on how well the watch is working with it. So one of the main features which is not on fēnix 3 and is a completely new addition to the 935 and the fēnix 5 is this menu button. So if you press and hold the light button, you have quick access to some of the smart features of the watch. So you can control your music, find your phone, save your location, lock the keys, enable do not disturb mode. I've actually enabled mine from when I go to sleep to when I wake up, so those standard hours. You can quickly sync as well with your phone, and obviously if you need to temporarily disable your Bluetooth connection, you can do that as well. So one of the biggest gripes I had with watches with a built-in heart rate sensor in the past was that, to be honest, they didn't work for me. And I tried my fair share, and the heart rate sensor wasn't actually a key selling point for me for these watches. But after trying it on, I was actually pleasantly surprised that the heart rate sensor was pretty accurate to me anyway. It does take a few minutes to get going when you do an activity, but once it establishes a connection, I think it works really well, and it's been almost as accurate as a dedicated heart rate sensor for me. Furthermore, the resting heart rate has also been pretty accurate, so if I put the watch on, it should detect my resting heart rate fairly quickly. And it also gives you your average resting heart rate as well. Now I do wear the 935 and fēnix 5 alternatively, so on different days it depends what my activities are. That's why the average heart rate seems to be up and down here. Well, that's what I believe anyway. So yeah, but you can also go into heart rate options as well and broadcast your heart rate. So this that's a little high. Okay, so this basically allows you to connect your 935 or fēnix 5 to say your Garmin Edge, and when you're cycling you don't have to wear a heart rate strap and you can simply just put a watch on and use this to monitor your heart rate, which has actually helped me a lot because I have found heart rate sensors to be quite irritable sometimes. Okay, so I've touched over some of the main differences between these watches as well as the similarities, but it bottles down to the main question about which one you should buy. Personally, I think if you are a dedicated athlete and a sports enthusiast, definitely go for the 935. It's a lot more comfortable than the fēnix 5. It weighs significantly less, and overall, personally, I find myself wearing the 935 a lot more. fēnix 5, well, if you're a keen outdoorsman and the weight doesn't bother you, and you need to wear this watch extensively with either a suit or smart clothes, definitely go for the fēnix 5 and pair it up with something like the stainless steel band, or even the leather bands as well. Being entirely honest, as someone who's active most days, either running or cycling, I found myself turning to the 935 a lot more than the fēnix 5. It's actually much more comfortable on my wrist personally. I find it easier on my wrist when I'm cycling than the fēnix 5, and I feel that I can also wear this comfortably when I'm sleeping as opposed to the fēnix 5. So the fēnix 5 weighs 85 grams, so it's only it's not that much heavier on paper, but once you have it on your wrist and you're sleeping at night time, I found this to be much more comfortable. The way that the strap also goes around my wrist is a lot more comfortable as well. I would actually recommend the 935 from a personal standpoint. Okay, and just to wrap up, if you are considering upgrading from the fēnix 3, you can see that there's a significant size reduction. The weight is actually very similar for the fēnix 5 and the fēnix 3, and the main differences are in the slimmed down size between the two. If you're coming from a fēnix 3 and you upgrade to the 935, you're really going to see a significant weight reduction and also a decrease in the bulk as well. The OS is very familiar. I've been using the fēnix 3 for the best part of 2 years, and coming to both the fēnix 5 and the 935, I felt right at home. So I hope you found this video useful, and if you did, please leave a thumbs up and consider subscribing to my channel. You can also check out the full review on my blog, and the link for that is in the description below. Thanks for watching.